The Fire Within: Rebellions in China. By the dawn of the 14th century, the Yuan Dynasty still carried the weight of Kublai Khan's name. On maps, his empire looked unshakable, but beneath the surface, the unraveling had already begun. The seeds of collapse were sown in Kublai's later years: famine, corruption, and the crushing burden of conquest. Though Kublai himself would not live to see the dynasty fall, the fires that consumed Yuan China began under his watch. Chapter 1: Cracks in the Yuan Order. After decades of expansion, the Mongol Empire had overreached. The conquest of Song China had drained its resources. Failed invasions of Japan, Vietnam, and Java had cost lives and treasure. Meanwhile, the court in Dadu was plagued by intrigue, corruption, and growing distance from the very people it ruled. Chinese farmers bore the heaviest burdens: forced labor, high taxes, and officials who exploited them. Floods and famine struck the Yellow River Basin, leaving thousands destitute. When the state failed to protect them, the people began looking elsewhere for salvation. Chapter 2: Faith and Fire: The White Lotus Movement. In the hills of Hubei and Henan, the White Lotus Society flourished, a Buddhist sect with apocalyptic prophecy at its core. Its leaders preached that a future Buddha would descend to sweep away Mongol rule. At first, Kublai tolerated the movement, even supporting it as a religious network. But its growing influence turned it into a threat. By the 1280s, the Yuan outlawed it. The crackdown forced the White Lotus underground, where it spread faster, carrying both faith and fury. This was more than rebellion. It was a prophecy of Mongol downfall. The White Lotus would survive suppression and later give rise to the Red Turban Rebellion, the movement that, decades after Kublai's death, would end the Yuan dynasty itself. Chapter 3: Bandits, Warlords, and Hidden Kings. Rebellion spread in every direction, led by men of very different paths. In Shandong, Li Tan, a Han Chinese governor, turned against the Yuan in 1262. This betrayal instilled a deep distrust in Kublai Khan toward his Han Chinese advisors and warlords. In Fujian, young Liangji, a former Song official, refused to submit. He helped Song princes escape south, and from mountain strongholds he waged a stubborn resistance. Across the countryside, pretenders rose. Men claiming descent from the old Song dynasty raised banners promising a return of the rightful emperor. Their calls drew desperate peasants, bandits, and dispossessed soldiers into their ranks. The Yuan struck hard, but for every rebellion put down, another flared up. China had become a land of hidden kings, each daring to defy the Mongol order. Chapter 4: Kublai's Shadow. By the late years of Kublai's reign, the Great Khan was a shadow of the conqueror he once was. Age and illness weighed on him. The grief from losing his heir, Prince Genjin, left him broken. While he still commanded loyalty in name, real power was slipping through his hands. China was no longer just a conquered land, it was a restless empire, splintering beneath him. The rebellions of the 14th century marked the beginning of the end for Mongol rule in China. Kublai Khan's dynasty had united the largest empire the world had ever seen. But holding it together was proving impossible. In our final episode, we'll witness Kublai's last years, his struggles with succession, and how his death set the stage for the slow unraveling of the Yuan dynasty. Like, comment and share to support the channel, or don't. Thanks for watching.